Pod Populi, podcast for the people.
I'm running on nothing but faith. There's things far too great that I want to accomplish. I'm hoping 25 hours a day, but something good works out, and I'm just like, dang. Think everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, I'm like, dang. Think you might just know the way. I'm like, dang.
Welcome to Dang.
Dang.
Today we're going to talk about the law of attraction. Do you remember when that was really big back in like 2000?
Yeah. But you may have to explain to people what that means.
Well, so there was a big book that came out back, I don't know. I can't believe that 2006, 2007 has been almost 20 years ago. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I'm spending my brain. Anyway, it was called The Secret.
The Secret.
And it was focused on the law of attraction, which is this idea that like energy breeds like energy. Or if you sum it all up, it's that what you focus on is what is going to come into your life. Like you'll see, like I think one of the best examples of this, I think there's truth to this. I don't know if I think the book, what it proposed was that you should like make these, it's where vision boards like became popular from. Everybody would make these vision boards and like you would put a Lamborghini on it and a stack of money and like a big, beautiful house and like look at it every day and focus on it every day. And that somehow that was going to attract that into your life. But basically that was all it took though, was that you focus on it.
Well, I think you have to
so
do
I don't know if
work
I believe,
also.
I don't know if I believe that necessarily, but I do think there's power in visualizing what you want and then like creating something spiritually first before you create it physically, like that you imagine it, you see it. As a designer, that is very real for me. Like I've started to realize that if I have a project like this, way it can be hard to be like a professional designer because design is an artistic expression to where it's like to do it on like command is very hard to be like, okay, this is the client, this is the purpose, now make it. And often, I'm as a professional, I'm able to do that, right? But there will be times when I have a project that comes across my desk and I'm just sitting here going, I can't see it in my mind. And if you can't see it in your mind, it's very hard to make it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
happen.
yeah. Well, I believe that, it works to a certain point, but you also have to push yourself in the direction of what you want. I mean, like, okay, I can't just say, hey, I can fly.
Yeah.
And believe that I can fly and then jump off a building and go,
Right.
I'm going to fly.
Yeah.
And I'm going to splat, no matter how well I believe it.
Yeah.
The bottom line
How
is
much
I'm
you
not going to fly. But now if I say I'm going to fly and I get into a plane, guess what?
Yeah, you're
I've
going to fly.
created that. Yeah, I'm going to fly.
Well, it definitely is true that what you focus on, what you think about, you see more of. Because I remember as a kid even, like once my dad got one of these, it was a Mercury Sable car, but it was similar to a Ford Taurus. And I just remember my parents talking about a Ford Taurus, and it was actually quite a ubiquitous car. Everybody did have it. But as soon as they started talking about it, I remember as we're driving around, because I wasn't on my phone while we're driving around.
Yeah.
I was looking out the window like kids did back then because you had nothing to do but look out the window.
Exactly.
And I started seeing Ford Tauruses everywhere.
Yeah.
And they were kind of everywhere, but so maybe this is not the best example, but like, okay, so let's say fast forward to I got a Kia Sedona, maybe? Is that what it was? It was a minivan.
So,
And I started seeing them everywhere.
Yeah.
Like once you get something, once it becomes something you think about and focus on, you will see more of it.
Well,
that's true.
I do believe what Bruce Lee says, that life and death is talked out of your mouth. I do believe that. I think success and
Bruce
failure.
Lee,
Bruce Lee, the karate guy.
He would say that.
Kung Fu guy, yes.
Oh,
And
he was before The Secret.
Yes, and also
He knew The Secret before The Secret.
Yes, he definitely is. Well, it's Bruce Lee. That's why.
Yeah.
So, and I also believe that you can. I really believe that your mind can create anything for you. Like I'll give you, for instance, if you think negatively all day, negative things are going to happen.
Right.
If you think positive all day, then positive things most likely are going to happen. I have learned that, like for me, when I set my realistic goals for the day, and then I accomplish those realistic goals, I feel really good about myself.
So here's what I think is actually kind of happening though, is if you're feeling really positive, you're going to be looking out there and seeing all the positive things that are happening, and the negative things are just going to be rolling off your back.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're feeling really negative, the positive things that are coming across, you'll be like, oh, well, I was, you don't see them as positive because you're feeling negative. You'd be like, oh, I was owed that, or that, well, of course that worked out, but look over here at all these bad, it's not necessarily, I think, even about literally the amount of negative and positive that's happening to you. It's that your experience is created by the way that you see what's happening to you.
Yeah.
And if you're focusing on positive, you will see positive. And if you're focusing on negative, you will see negative.
Oh, yeah,
you could
definitely.
be the exact same experience. It's like you go on a cruise ship or some controlled environment where everybody's got this wonderful experience. You know, every person at Disneyland is not happy.
No.
There are plenty of people there that maybe don't want to be there or
and their spouse
whatever.
the spouses make them go.
Right?
Or
Because
their husbands make them go.
you create out of whatever the external circumstances are, you create your experience by the way you think about it.
Yeah, but I also
So that's why it does work, the law of attraction, because the way you're looking at it will create your experience.
Oh, yeah. And I do believe that, you know, if you dream big and you work your goal towards that big, you can actually accomplish that dream.
Like what you were saying for Adelie with her music, is just like doing something every day, pushing a little bit in that direction and reminding yourself of what your goals are.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times too, like we're making incremental choices. So I think we're taught it a lot with like money, that you have to save your money. You have to save for that future thing, right? If you just keep spending your money all the time, you won't have that big savings for when you want to buy this big ticket thing.
Yeah.
Our time and our goals are so similar but we don't think about it necessarily as spending. Like you spend your time, you get rid, if you're not investing it into something that is your goal, the time will pass and it's like, okay, your goal did not come true because you weren't doing consistently towards that.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, and I think that it's good to remind ourselves. So that's where a vision board, it would be really helpful, right? If you're waking up, is it the act of making that vision board and sticking it on your wall? Is that what making these things happen? No, it's focusing on those things and then allowing it to turn into action in your life.
But I also know sometimes, you know, when you're asking God for something and then he gives it to you and it goes awry or messes up, you blame God. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why you didn't get it sooner, I really believe, because God didn't want you to have it, and you may not have been ready for it.
Maybe it wasn't the right thing for
you.
you.
But he'll give you what you want, but it may not be good for you.
I think that can definitely happen.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it does. I know that.
Yeah. I was reading something that was talking a lot about that idea of creating your day spiritually first, like in the morning, spending time meditating and thinking about how are you going to use your time that day, and then at the end of the day kind of looking back and reporting back in of like, how did I end up doing?
Oh, yes.
Like planning it and seeing planning. I mean, we know planning, but I really just loved that idea that this like creative process of like, we create it first in our minds as ideas, and then it materializes, and then we can look back and say, is that really what I want? What I was after? Where did I go wrong? Or what can I do better?
I think sometimes people overthink it. That's why they overthink it. You know, it's like, you have to do A to B, but when you start doing other stuff, trying to make, your goal happen, I think that you push yourself backwards.
So overthinking is an interesting term. Like if we break that down, I don't know what you're meaning by overthinking, but I think it's possible to overthink in the terms of you just keep planning and you never pull the trigger and actually do.
Well, yeah.
I agree with that. But overthinking as far as like, can you overthink as like a person like, oh, you're thinking too much in your day? Like, no, I think mindfulness, so much of our experience is thinking.
Yes,
right?
but I think that.
But I agree that you need to be able to make action.
Yeah, you can overthink it by not just doing this. Okay, overthinking. What I mean by that is taking the steps that are not right in front of you. Okay. And what I mean is the steps are right in front of you.
Action. I agree
about
with you
what you need to do, but you overthink that. Well, but then I don't know if I do that, then I don't know. But you just have to do the steps you need to do every single day to get to your goal.
Yeah. But there's good in looking ahead, right?
Yes.
Looking ahead at strategically, like you know, with chess, like you got to plan your moves.
But patience is also a big part of, you know, your thinking. It's a big part of your process. Big part of you making to your success. You have you have patience.
Patience starts in your mind too, right?
Yeah, that's
because
right.
patience is all about our ability to just keep moving through something.
And
right?
you can't beat yourself up when you're not getting to the goal fast as you want to, but you know, you got to keep taking the steps, the baby steps to get to where you got to get to. Baby steps lead to teenage steps, and teenage steps leads to large adult steps.
Yep. And just keep going. So much the solution to the problem is just more time.
Yep.
Right? Just keep
going.
going.
It's like if you're driving around in a car and you need gas, your light's on. But if you go, I want to stop here, but no, I can't stop here. I need gas. No, I want to stop over there, but no, I don't want to stop. Now, your goal is to get the gas, but if you keep not stopping at one of them gas stations, eventually you're going to run out of gas. And then you have to call the tow truck or call something to come get your car. So
you got to take the action.
Yeah, you take the action to go somewhere that you know where you want to go. Just drive to that place and fill your gas up and move on.
So I think I believe in the law of attraction.
I believe.
Do you believe in it?
Yes, I do.
Yes, but you feel like there's a limitation to it.
Yes, there's definitely a limitation to the law of attraction.
Limitation in how willing you are to take the action that accompanies the vision,
and how willing you are to take the fails that come with it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the other thing. Some people, they think they failed and they think that it's all over, but it's not. You just got to keep going.
Yeah, and I think there's just so much in life, and it makes sense if you really think about it, that comes down to our control of our minds. Like the way that we see the world, the way that we control our thoughts, it creates our whole experience.
Well, yeah.
And if we're having to get through something that's really, really hard, I think sometimes it's best to just, put your head down and just focus on the day-to-day aspects of okay, today, what do I have to do?
Yes.
Right?
But
if
also,
the big picture's too much.
Sometimes people have a habit of not wanting to relinquish control of what they're doing. And to get things done, sometimes you have to, sometimes we're so caught up, not you, I'm saying people are so caught up in what's going on that they can't take a step back and let someone else come and take a look at it and see what needs to be done to get you to your next level.
Yeah, sometimes the problem is much it's not about what's right here.
Yeah.
Right? And that you're just reworking a tangled chain, and it's it's going to be a much bigger problem that's going to be untangled. You're not going to be the one to untangle it. So just chill and let things kind of work themselves out.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the solution, right? To
That's
just
right.
wait.
Yeah, it's but I look at things like I know what I want to do now in my life, and I'm making the goals to go to that. That's why I do something. I do something for it every week or every day to move toward my primary goal.
Yeah.
And I think that if I don't do that in my life, I think that I'll just get, what do you call that? I can't think of the word right now. Oh, I'll get complacent. I'll get complacent. Yeah, and I don't want to get complacent. Complacentness leads to, stress, leads to worry, for
There's good tools like the vision board would be a tool, or a journal that you kind of helps you as you're spiritually creating or visualizing what you want.
Yep.
And then checking in with yourself later. So there's tools that you can use to keep you on that track.
Yeah,
keep you on that path.
Yeah, but I would like to know how other people, how they see it. Because I think people think that people in LA don't really work, because there's always a lot of people everywhere. But I think people do work, but they take time out for what they want.
What do you mean people in LA don't really
work?
Well,
I'm saying people think that because I always.
You mean like Hollywood?
No, I'll explain it to you. So
okay.
It's like when you drive in LA, it's 12 o'clock and it's hundreds of people in places. And it's morning and it's hundreds of people before. After rush hour is already over, you're like, does anybody work in this town? But I think people are doing things on their daily basis to help them get toward their goal of work. You know what I mean? But you have to do all this other stuff.
That there's just a lot more. It's a bustling community. There's not people just locked in offices.
Yeah, I think you have to build, the foundation first. I think that's the most important thing. Is for me, law of attraction is you build your foundation to succeed to where you want to get to. You can't it's not going to just happen overnight. It's not going to just happen when you want to. You got to keep building that foundation till eventually you get you put the house on it. And once you get the house on it, then you can move forward.
It's one of those videos, and I've seen it on a couple different iterations of it on Instagram where they talk about the focus versus versus like quantity, and it's like you see the little drip, the drip 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 on a rock will actually like erode the rock away.
Yes.
But you just take water, like a bucket of water, and splash it on it. It won't do anything.
Yes.
And that those small, even if they're tiny, consistent efforts, that consistency has so much more power than quantity.
I definitely believe that for sure.
Yeah. Well, dang.
I'll tell you what, this has been a fruitful day. And I'm going to go have some fruit today. Dang.
See you next week.
Next week.
Next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Appreciate it. This podcast is produced by my wife, Betty Jo Bridges, in collaboration with Pop Populi, and edited by our daughter, Adelie Ann.
She is also the musician responsible for our theme music, so go check out Adelie Ann wherever you stream your music. Have a question or topic you want us to cover? Send us your suggestions at dangpodcast.com.
If you would do me a quick favor, please subscribe or rate our podcast to make it easier for others to find. Have a great week.
I'm running on nothing but faith. This thing's far too great